This is Nikachu. I am here with my brother, and we are going to dive into the final format. We've brought Merfolk to Modern. We have brought Merfolk to Legacy. I even brought Merfolk in Spirit in Standard. And now it is time to play Merfolk in Vintage. We are playing with the real Magic cards. To play Magic as it was meant to be played under Richard Garfield's design. We're going to thank our sponsor, themanabase.com. Oh, if you want to see beautiful art like the stuff seen here, Black Lotus, Mox Sapphire, come on, Mox Sapphire, Ancestral Recall, and all articles related to art, go check out Madison Gibbons, The Nice Sphere on themanabase.com. And I have a ton more patrons supporting me on Patreon. I absolutely love you guys. We are creating the Typhoon, the massive wave that's going to overcome all other waves. I love to so much thank my new patrons, Jacob Greffling, Jonathan Young, Edwin Aragon, Sophie Yano, Clint Hudson, John Raspa Jr., Ben Atkinson, and Steve Piguet. Thank you so much for supporting me on Patreon. Okay, so, Vintage is a whole different beast. First off, I have not really played any Vintage at all. I tried to get some practice games online yesterday. They were terrible. I played against someone who, played, Land Mox and then passed the turn for 7 times, and I had to mulligan a bunch of times, and I had nothing in play, and I passed the turn for 7 times. And then I got, a Null Rod out. Anyway, it was ridiculous. I thought the game would be over in 1 or 2 turns, and it ended up going until turn 11. I have no idea what's going on in this format. We are going to give a huge shout out to Honorable, who is he? Uncle Rico. Uncle Rico has been doing a lot of great work for Merfolk and Vintage. He's been playing it a lot. He's got a ton of lists published. He's making Merfolk great again in Vintage, and I am adopting one of his lists. I'm not playing a carbon copy of it, because I have some of my own opinions on Vintage, even though I don't even play the damn format.
I thought this was just a bunch of old cards.
Well, you can play the new cards, but you're allowed to play the old cards, like Black Lotus.
Okay, I see.
So oh, yeah, we can play all the new cards, too. We're not restricted to just this stuff.
Because Lord of Atlantis is, from the actual original, right?
Yeah, it is.
So, but then I'm wondering why
people have been battling with Lord of Atlantis and Black Lotus since 1993.
I was wondering why it's True Name Nemesis there, because you said that was relatively new.
Oh yeah, it's relatively new. So we're still going to be playing with Cavern of Souls. There's, they could end up trying to Mental Misstep our Curse Catcher. We want to make sure our creatures are still uncounterable. There's still Force of Will in this format, so Cavern of Souls is a no-brainer. The fetch lands look really weird, but they are there to facilitate Treasure Cruise. So,
oh, wow.
Yeah, Treasure Cruise, a Delve spell. It's just another Ancestral Recall for the deck. I think it's a pretty cool idea to play this card. We can easily fill the graveyard with our creatures, spells, lands, and the occasional Black Lotus. So I think it makes a lot of sense to play Treasure Cruise. I've never played with the card before. I've never played with such a weird mana base. But I assume against a broad range of decks, a lot of the decks that fetching is free, and deck thinning doesn't screw up our mana base or anything like that too much, and that it's more than worth it to play Treasure Cruise, which is restricted, by the way, in this format. We're going to play with 4 copies of Wasteland and Strip Mine. Online, Wasteland is the most expensive part of this deck. This thing is they're $50 a piece. It cost me less than $100 to make this basically Vintage playable. All the power overall was relatively cheap. Black Lotus, I don't know, was $40-something, and then everything else tallied up to be about $50. So if you've got Legacy Merfolk already ready, invest another $100 to get all the power. I think it's fine, and I'm glad that I'm getting into Vintage at such a good time, because these prices used to be insane when Vintage Masters came out. So, and I'm just going to trust the lists. They're playing basically with the 5th Wasteland in Strip Mine, which is just destroy target land itself. Black Lotus. Yep. What can we say? It is the iconic card of Magic. You pay it for 0, sacrifice it, add 3 mana of any color to your mana pool. And Mox Sapphire. Somehow in my heart, I feel like this doesn't belong in the deck. I don't know why Merfolk would want this card, but at the same time, it's a bunch of free mana. I'm sure it's also worth a bunch of tempo as well. Mental Misstep. This is like the Force of Will of Modern if they would let it be legal. Free mana, it's only a Phyrexian mana counter target spell with converted mana cost 1, so it can hit Ancestral Recalls. It can't hit Power, unfortunately. It can hit Brainstorm. It can hit Ponder. It can hit other mental missteps.
Why is it banned?
There was a time when this thing was unbanned and it was sort of ridiculous because every single deck would play it. And they thought it was just unhealthy. Everyone can play it, so what? No one should play it.
Doesn't seem too harmful.
Yeah, I agree. Unban Mental Misstep. Let's have this in Modern. I think this would be great for Modern. Counter those damn Death Shadows. I'm totally fair with everyone having access to this card. Ancestral Recall, 1 blue, target player draws 3 cards.
That's broken.
That is busted as hell. I mulligan to 3. To 3. And still won because I mulligan to it was Silvergill Adept, Island, Ancestral Recall, filled my hand again, and I was off to the races.
That's like the Professor Oak of Magic.
It is, yes. Yes, it is. Well, no, not really. The Professor Oak of Magic is Wheel of Fortune, which is literally discard your hand, draw 7 cards. Okay, so we're gonna still play with the normal creatures. We've got Curse Catcher, we've got Silvergill Adept. We're playing with Lord of Atlantis, Master of the Pearl Trident, Mararigiri, and a few True Name Nemesis. I have no idea. Uncle Rico is only playing with 2 True Name Nemesis. I don't know if I should be splitting it with my Mararigiri. I have no idea how important this card is in this format. I can if there's a lot of spot removal, True Name Nemesis is worth a lot. If there's a lot of creatures that are dirtling around on their own, then I would say the Lord is worth more, so that we can just goldfish to a win as soon as possible. Nemesi, yes. Do I have any other creatures? No. So yeah, True Name Nemesis. Don't know if it should be more than 2, but I'm gonna trust Uncle Rico knows. He says only 2. So I'm playing. I'm packing all these other creatures. We're not playing that many creatures. 22. It feels very low. But on the other hand, we're gonna be drawing some cards like Ancestral Recall, and we're thinning our deck a little bit with the fetch lands.
What's Mind Break, Trav?
Wait, we're gonna get to it. Don't get too excited. We're gonna break some minds.
I've never seen any of these cards.
So Null Rod, this is the Chalice of the Void of the format. Activated abilities of artifacts can't be activated. So if you play a Null Rod, people can no longer play Mox, or they can't tap Mox Sapphire or Mox Jet, Mox Emerald for mana. It shuts off our own Mox, but we're not as dependent on our Moxes as other decks. So this is the Chalice of the Void of the format. Time Walk. Take an extra turn after this one. It's pretty sweet. You can attack your opponent for... I have a feeling that we want to sandbag this card as much as possible. Get enough power on the board, attack, and then Time Walk, and then attack for the win the following turn.
This card should be unbanned. Perfectly reasonable.
Well, okay, moving on. Force of Will. We're going to be playing with Force of Will. This format's busted, and we still want to Force of Will things. This is a cool card. I have no idea if this is mandatory. We're going to play with Misdirection. I love Misdirection. I have a sweet spot for this card. It's one of my favorite cards in Magic. It's like Force of Will. It doesn't counter the spell. It redirects spells. Anything with a single target gets a new target. So you can redirect Ancestral Recall to yourself. So you play Misdirection, pitch a blue card, and then you're the one drawing the 3 cards instead of your opponent. So you get back your investment from the Misdirection, and then you get 1 extra card, and your opponent's down a card because of the Ancestral Recall. Lastly, Chalice of the Void. This card is restricted in Vintage because it's against the spirit of Vintage. Vintage is all about playing the Moxes and Black Lotus, and if you play like Chalice on 0, it defeats the purpose of the format. So it's been restricted. We can play this, and let's ruin the format, because we can play it. We don't have as many Moxes as other people, and we can take advantage of it. We can look at it like our 4th Null Rod, which can also be set on Chalice. We can set Chalice on 1 also against the appropriate deck. So we're also going to play Arcane Laboratory. This is good against Storm decks. It might even be good against Monastery Mentor decks. I'm not sure, so that they can't go too crazy with their Mentor. I have no idea what Energy Flux is for. I guess it's against artifact decks, like Mishra's not Factory. What's it called? Mishra's... Something Mishra. There's a Mishra deck out there. All artifacts at the beginning of your upkeep sacrifice this artifact unless you pay 2.
It's Karn.
Now, Mindbreak Trap is for Storm decks. If an opponent casts 3 or more spells this turn, you may pay 0 rather than pay Mindbreak Trap's mana cost. So there are some Storm decks that, like... Yeah, it's just basically an anti-Storm card. I have no idea if this is important, but it's pretty good. So if your opponent like tries to go off with Storm, you can get them in the end with Mindbreak Trap. Got Caracas here for anyone who's going to try to play any sort of deck with legendary creatures. I know Gristlebrand is still in this format. What's it? The Phyrexian Colossus, I believe, is also in this format. We need a decent chunk of artifact hate, like Tormod's Crypt and Grafdigger's Cage, because Dredge is like the affinity of this format. If you're not prepared for it, you're going to just die to it. So you got to make sure you have your artifact hate. We got it here. And we have some 2 Ratchet Bombs on the sideboard. I don't know the full application to Ratchet Bomb. I just know that I can assume you can bring it in against the Mentor decks. And for 2 mana, you can blow up all the Mentor creatures. Ooh. Okay, with that, let's get into our Vintage Daily.
You burned 3 minutes.
Whatever. We're on the draw. Our hand is fine. Unfortunately, Chalice of the Void's not going to be great because our opponent's already playing the Moxes. Already on their way. So they play their Misty Rainforest without doing anything. So what does this mean? Do I want to play this now or later? Well, we're definitely going to play an island. And then maybe we'll play this later. Do you know what? Okay, we're going to play this later. I'm going to try to Ancestral Recall at the end of their turn. And if that fails... Like, if I draw, like, for example... Yeah, I'm just going to pass the turn here.
I came here to see turn 2 wins.
Well, let's wait till their next turn. I actually don't even know if I want to play this Ancestral Recall. This is so weird. Look at that. He just passed the turn doing nothing. This happened before. Okay, so if I Ancestral Recall, I'm going to draw 3 cards. That puts 9 cards in my hand. I'm going to draw a card. That's 10 cards. I can play a land, play Chalice of the Void, and play a creature. Land, creature, Chalice of the Void. Land, creature, Chalice of the Void. And I'm just going to have to discard to 1 card? Is that how it is? Anyway, I don't know if this is a bad thing. If we draw a Mox, I'll be able to play it before I play Chalice on 0.
Here comes the counterspell.
Oh yeah, here comes something. Mana drain. So you're going to get 1 mana at your next turn. Okay, that's not convenient, but I'll live with it. So they couldn't do anything off 2 mana, or maybe they didn't want to. Let's play it slowly. They're only going to have 1 mana at their next turn. Okay, let's play the thing on 0 now. And then from there on out, we'll try to play like Silvergill Adepts off of our Cavernous Souls. Hopefully our opponent doesn't have Strip Mine or something. I sort of don't want to know what my opponent's going to do with like a bunch of mana.
Terrifying.
Like, or more than 2 mana, because they didn't do anything with 2 mana. Yeah, and they couldn't do anything off of 1. Alright, let's get our game going. This looks like a situation... Do you know what? I'm going to play Silvergill Adept first, just in case our opponent has Wasteland. And I'll show Lord of Atlantis. And I'm probably just going to play Lords after this, but I'm going to want to draw at least 1 card. Ooh, that's not bad. But if our opponent has Wasteland or Strip Mine, we're going to lose our Cavern of Souls, which is problematic. I don't understand. If our opponent passes the turn here, I'm going to assume that Vintage is like the most ridiculously clunky. And that's the Manabase.com. Get dunked on instant replay. Yeah, this is clunky. This is like the clunkiest format of all time.
What turn was that? Oh, turn 4.
Everyone has their like okay, so we won on turn 4, but not exactly as we wanted to. So we have no idea what our opponent's deck is. I'm not versed enough in this. Okay, you know what? We have some time. I'm going to spend 1 minute trying to figure out what our opponent's deck is. How about a mentor deck? Could it be a mentor deck? Volcanic Island, Chandra, but no Underground Sea. It was an Underground Sea deck with Mana Drain. Why aren't we playing with Mana Drain? That's a sick card. That's power. How about... Is there Storm? How about Gifts Control? That's an Underground Sea deck that plays Mana Drain. 3 Mana Drains. And it plays with Jace Vryn's Prodigy, Snapcaster Mage, Blightsteel Colossus, Tendrils of Agony.
Show them.
So we don't know for sure what the hell this is, but I guess I'm going to bring in like a Crocus. Do I need to bring in any Graveyard Hate? Hercule's Recall, Pro, Gifts Ungiven. Can use the Graveyard though. Not just Jace Vryn's Prodigy can. Yawgmoth's Will can? Yeah, okay, Yawgmoth's Will can. So we might bring in some... Does that get around... I have 1 minute. Okay, I have 1 minute. I can't think about it. I'm going to bring in Mindbreak Trap. I'll bring in 1 because I'm not sure what we're up against. I'll take out Null Rods. Oh no, this is a Null Rod deck. Take out Misdirection. I'll take out a True Name. Take out maybe 1 Mental Misstep. Bring in an Arcane Laboratory. Bring in, I don't know, a Grafdigger's Cage. This is just a small hedge because I'm not certain what we're up against. And then after this game...
It's a whole new world.
Yeah, it's a whole new world. We'll figure it out. We'll know what we're up against. This hand sucks.
He kept.
They kept. I'm gonna mulligan. This hand just can't do anything at all. Neither can this hand. I'm gonna mulligan again. This hand's bad.
Don't worry, in Vintage anything is possible.
I think so, and that's sort of what I'm feeling like I should mulligan this as well. I'm gonna mulligan one more time. We can keep this. This is fine. We'll put this on the bottom because we do need 1 more land. Anything is possible in Vintage. Deathrite Shaman. So Tormod's Crypt is sort of poor against that card. I have no idea what we're up against. Delver? Oh, check out this sweet Pikachu mug that my brother found me at a thrift store. Sweet. Soul Ring.
That bad?
Yes. Ruminap Excavator. So I totally sideboarded wrong.
Isn't that new?
Oh yeah, that's totally new. You're allowed to play the new cards.
I'm just saying.
They love playing new cards in Vintage.
Vintage is basically known deck type plus Black Lotus. That's all it is.
In some ways, yes.
Dredge plus Black Lotus. Burn plus Black Lotus. Burn plus Treasure Cruise.
Okay, let's get something on the board. So I think I screwed my deck over. The Mindbreak Trap is worthless. Pretty sure the Mindbreak Trap is worthless. This deck is actually I might have been... It might have been very dangerous to play this island out, because if this deck has Strip Mine or Strip Mine, they can keep Strip Mining my deck away. Strip Mine would be evil. It's just destroy target land, it'll go in the graveyard, they can replay it with a Ruminap. Leovold? This definitely feels like Legacy. Let us just try to win the game. I'm just gonna try to lord him out. Next turn I'll play True Name Nemesis if I have to. I think our clock is faster. Assuming they have nothing. Wasteland. Okay, so we're protection from Wasteland temporarily.
Could you play squirrels in Vintage?
Absolutely.
You should.
You can play squirrels in Modern. Or you can play squirrels for sure in Legacy.
Because they stack like Merfolk.
I
You're
guess.
+1 to each other.
Opponent attacks for 5. Good for you. I'm not blocking with anything. Let's see who can win this race. That's exactly what I wanted to see. If this resolves, I have a feeling my opponent's not going to feel so hot about their situation. They have to do something. They're going to bounce something? Or they create mana by wastelanding their own lands. This is going to be Abrupt Decay. Could be. Okay. And if our opponent finds a black mana source, they can add mana with, they could exile the Abrupt Decay to put our life total down to 9. They don't have that black mana source yet, though. Mock Sapphire, still no black mana source. Unfortunately, because of the Leovold, we're not going to draw an extra card off of Silver Gillidapt. It's a bit sad.
It'd have to be.
We're going to take 5, go to 6. Hope our opponent isn't going to do anything. So the Wasteland is off the board. So we can take another 5. How to do this? I could attack with these guys, play a True Name Nemesis, name them. Or let's see, let's say I attack for 4, he takes it, goes to 12. I play True Name Nemesis. Can we deal enough damage next turn? I would love to just try to kill my opponent ASAP, because who knows when the game is just going to end. They're going to play like Ancestral Recall, target themselves, draw a bunch of cards, and then put me right out of my misery. Because we could put a lot of pressure with this Merfolk, and we could still threaten to block the Ramunap Excavator. On the other hand, we could play True Name Nemesis and for sure Brickwall these guys. So if I played Merfolk, attack for 6, they go down to 10, and I'm actually not threatening lethal next turn. I only have 9 power on the board, and I don't even have Island Walk for all of them. So I guess the plan is we are going to play True Name Nemesis to slow the game down. Attack with both these guys. Hopefully my opponent does not have a removal spell of any sort. They want to block at their own will, that's fine. Merfolk. We'll play the True Name Nemesis. So hopefully this slows our opponent down. I guess this is just Leovold.deck. That's all I can think of. There's Wasteland. Probably sandbagged in our opponent's hand.
Piece of garbage.
Yep.
Need a land next turn.
Well, we can at least play Silver Gillidapt. We're not going to draw a card because of the Leovold, but we're going to still add to the board. It's relevant. It's still important. We can still try to get in for Island Walk. We can even just attack with True Name and Nemesis. That helps. Actually, yeah, like Lord of Atlantis will help Curse Catcher get through. So our opponent is on a 2-turn clock. still, and we can leave at least the Silvergill Adept back to block. Oh. So this sort of tells me that maybe they've got another Leovold in their hand. If I block this, they're just going to play another one. The Ruminap is not legendary, so I think I'm willing to block the Ruminap. Like, they've got a bunch of cards in their hand stuck. They're not playing them. They didn't counter any of our creatures. I'm guessing that they had things like Wasteland and Leovolds in their hand. Hopefully our opponent isn't playing with Bolt. Just randomly bolt me. Would suck. Chalice of the Void. Bit late to the party. So one way or another, I have to block this thing. I certainly don't want to really do it with the Lord of Atlantis. So what if I attack for 4? I could attack for 4.
You could attack for...
Yeah, let's attack for 4. Seems like a reasonable thing to do. It's possible our opponent is playing with Snapcaster Mage. They can Snapcaster Mage, flashback Abrupt Decay thanks to Deathrite Shaman. Don't really feel like playing around a Snapcaster Mage though. What's going to happen here? Black mana getting tapped. Oh, just Hardcast Abrupt Decay. Okay, that's fine. And I think I'm going to play this thing on 0. So to prevent our opponent from ever finding like Mox Jet and casting it, we'll just cast our creature. We won't draw a card from Silvergill Adept, unfortunately, but whatever. So we've got Leovold locked down. Our opponent's life total is a lot higher than we think it is because there are 3 creatures in the graveyard. There's a Ruminap, or Raminap, Ramaminap, and there's 2 lords in the graveyard. So our opponent is at a virtual 17 life. So we're gonna need some more help. Actually, we're gonna need some help.
It's gonna come in the form of a heart attack.
It's gonna come in the form of a land to get this Mirror Reader in play.
Ooh, yeah.
Okay, let's time walk. If we can time walk, we can attack for 3, and then take another turn. I forgot this does not target. I tried to target myself. Just take an extra turn after this one.
No counter spells.
It'll help us make a decision here.
Feel the power of banned cards.
Yeah. So this would have been a nice, like, just last turn instead of the Silvergill Adept, because I could have played the True Name Nemesis.
No! Stop doing things.
Yeah, they're going to do something. Hard casting the Force of Will.
That shows a sign of fear.
Yeah, I would say so. Can't... There's still a Wasteland in the graveyard for the Deathrite Shaman to eat.
Concede next game.
I sort of want to attack. 'Cause I can't just sit here and do nothing. And if he attacks with, or if they attack with Leovold, we can double block it with Silvergill Adept and Curse Catcher. It leaves us open to some sort of blow, some sort of removal spell, but no, I don't think I can afford to keep waiting. I could also just chump block with the Curse Catcher if I really want to. For all I know, like, remember, we saw this Underground Sea. There are so many top decks which will turn this Deathrite Shaman live. I do not want this Deathrite Shaman to go online. We must close this game out as soon as possible. I probably should have been thinking of this earlier. Not sure how my attacks were back then. And we will double block, like so. We don't have a choice. If they have another Leovold in hand, then they have another Leovold in hand. It costs black mana, so the Deathrite Shaman is going to have to eat the last Wasteland in the graveyard in order to cast it. And for that matter, Deathrite Shaman will not be gaining any life that turn if they are going to be eating up the Wasteland. So small victories. This is all assuming there is a Leovold in our opponent's hand and that this Leovold is going to die. But it appears that our opponent is going to do something. Do a little bit of a combat trick here. Another Abrupt Decay? How many Abrupt Decays do you have, man? Okay, so it looks like now the True Name Nemesis is going to be sitting on the back. Ugh! That's awful. Okay, we're going to do this because I don't want to wait. And we're going to pass. We're pretty vulnerable to a removal spell here. If our opponent plays a removal spell on Merfolk, well, I guess it's not that bad. If they want to attack with both creatures, I would block their Leovold, get hit by Deathrite Shaman for 1 damage, and go to 1. One more Lord, and we're in business, even though I've gone through a bunch of our Lords so far. We're on thin ice. They could top deck this Black Mana Source at any moment. We're on super thin ice.
Passing the turn.
Well, this is all good news. This is bad news. I can't attack. I just can't. If I attack, they attack back with the Leovold, and I cannot race that, so... I need to wait for a moment where they are... I have to wait for one more creature. I have to wait for anything, like even a Curse Catcher, so I can chump block the Leovold. What's this going to be? 3 mana. Snapcaster Mage into... nothing? You don't have any lands in the graveyard. So the Snapcaster Mage, what it can do is just attack, I guess. Oh, they can eat my land in the graveyard. Okay, I'm dead. I'm getting punished for playing fetch lands. Gotcha. Yeah, I'm going to get punished for playing my own fetch lands. And now I am not technically toast yet, but pretty close.
When you cast it from the graveyard, does it finally get exiled?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it does.
Because they should just be allowed to cast it over and over. Should never end.
Okay, we're dead. So now we know what we're up against. Misdirection's going to be huge. Mental Misstep also looks pretty huge. Tormod's Crypt maybe is going to be good, maybe not. Ratchet Bomb looks okay. Mindbreak Trap is useless. Misdirection is good. Treasure Cruise is good. Chalice of the Void on 0, probably fine. Probably is even fine on... actually, Chalice of the Void. So they've got a bunch of Abrupt Decay effects. But we're going to have the Misdirection for that. Maybe Chalice on 0 is not super important. No, we're on the play, so Chalice is good on 0. I probably should have sided this out on the draw. What do I take out here? Arcane Laboratory is not important anymore. Grafdigger Cage is okay. Maybe Tormod's Crypt is better. Krakus can bounce. Leovold, but they would draw a card.
Krakus can bounce like a bad chick.
Okay, True Name Nemesis is very good. Time Walk is still good. I think this is gonna be our deck. Not sure how important Null Rod is, but it still shuts off their free mana, shuts off their Solar Ring they're playing. Okay. Just curious, did we just do nothing at all? See, look at this. I can't do anything with this hand. I have to mulligan it. No pressure. This has pressure, but it's like not really doing much. Okay, we'll keep this. I guess we'll put this on top of our deck as well. We're invincible against Wasteland. We're invincible... Well, not invincible against Strip Mine, but we're invincible against Wasteland. Sure. Black Lotus it up. As many Black Lotuses as you want.
Deck type plus Black Lotus. That's all this format is. Elves plus Black Lotus. Death Shadow plus Black Lotus.
So I think they're just going to wait to mana drain us. If that's true, then I guess we should wait for a Cavern of Souls. I guess we just should not make the first move. Whatever it is that we do. I don't know, this feels like they have mana drain, and we don't have any protection against it. Mana drain seems like a really bad thing to, like, for example, misdirect the misdirection to. Or maybe they just have a, like, really controlling hand. So we're going to try to fight this.
What's that card where mountains become like 3/3s? What's that card where mountains become 3/3s?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
So the picture on it is of like a volcano. It's a red card.
Mountains become 3/3s.
Yeah.
Someone in the comments section let my brother know what the hell he's talking about, because I don't.
Oh, what the hell is that card called?
Well,
it's like Scape Shift.
Well, I certainly don't want to give my opponent more stuff, but we're now losing on the board. Guess we just have to play Mirror Rejury. If you've got Mana Drain, then you got Mana Drain. And we could get just Mana Drained out of the game, because they could just play what's called Snapcaster Mage. But at the very least, we force them to use the Black Lotus. So, whatever.
Oh, you can only use it once?
Oh yeah, you have to sacrifice the Black Lotus.
Oh, I thought you could tap it infinitely.
Oh no.
Well, that
Holy cow.
That changes everything. It's not that impressive anymore.
Well, this is interesting. I could try to counter this Brainstorm and force them to fetch, and this Brainstorm wouldn't be as strong. I don't get it. If this deck is playing fetch lands, then why don't we play Brainstorm? Whatever. So it looks like our opponent likes all their cards. They're not fetching yet. I'm going to draw the card that they have on top. They got 3 colorless mana to work with. Wonder what they can do. They can play a Ramanap, play a Thoughtseize. Okay, that's going to happen. We're going to take our True Name Nemesis probably.
Valakut.
We only have 1 card left, but you know what? This is Legacy. This is Vintage. This is Vintage. Anything can happen in Vintage. We could draw Ancestral Recall off the top, get right back into this game.
Valakut is the card I'm thinking about, the volcano. What does that do?
It does 3. Each mountain that enters the battlefield past 5 deals 3 damage to target creature or player. Doesn't turn them into 3/3s.
But that would be good with Black Lotus. Because you could instantly create an extra 3 mountains.
No, you don't create mountains. You just add mana. You just create the colored mana that you want. Pernicious Deed! Oh, that's a problem. That's a beating. But they're gonna eat their Deathrite Shaman if they want to activate it, so... Alright, I'm game. I have no lands in my graveyard. My opponent has one. I'm gonna keep this fetch land on the board as long as possible. I'd rather fetch it after the Deathrite Shaman is off the board. I'm gonna keep attacking until my opponent is convinced that they have to sack this Pernicious Deed. And they're gonna have to pay 3 for it. Not particularly comfortable with our situation because we've got a lonely Curse Catcher in our hand. Our opponent's hand is full of gas. They didn't fetch at end of turn, so that means they had all relevant cards in their hand before they drew their card for the turn. That's a problem. That's a problem. Our opponent is now playing Strip Mine. Ooh, our own Black Lotus. Okay, let's go. This certainly can backfire. Our opponent could kill the Mariegery, eat up the Curse Catcher. That appears to be what's going to happen. I guess another thing I could do is just play the Curse Catcher, tap the Deathrite Shaman down, but that feels wrong. This Black Lotus is coming at a very wrong time for us. I'm going to keep it in our hand. I'm also going to keep the Curse Catcher in our hand. I can play the Curse Catcher. There's nothing wrong with playing Curse Catcher here. If I draw Master of the Pearl Trident, maybe I can start attacking with it.
What about Master of Waves?
Maybe that's what we're missing in Legacy. We're missing Master of Waves. Protection
Vintage.
from... Sorry, that's what we're missing in Vintage. We're missing Master of Waves. I'm not used to saying the word vintage. Vintage. Vintage furniture.
Vintage wine.
This is our Master of the Pearl Trident.
Vintage NES.
But you know what? I'm not even going to do anything. I'm just going to wait. It was probably a mistake the way... what I was doing earlier. Okay, it doesn't matter. Mana Drain has entered the effects area. Has countered my spell. Again, why aren't we playing with Mana Drain? Like, this card is ridiculous. I guess we have trouble finding room. Maybe it's better than, like, Null Rod. Okay, come take our Black Lotus, which wasn't really doing a whole lot.
You couldn't have countered that with Curse Catcher?
No. I could try, but they can pay 1.
Oh, right. I always forget that part.
It doesn't even matter all that much. They have this Pernicious Deed, which blows everything up on the board. Except the lands. So it would just easily eat up my Black Lotus. All we need to do is rip True Name Nemesis off the top. For all I know, I've played this game terribly. I should have made them use their mana drain a lot earlier, because they can only add colorless mana with the damn thing. This is interesting. So how many lands are in the graveyard? So they can make mana at any time that they want anyway. Let's cut off their... If I cut off their green mana, they can't gain life. Let's cut off... And if I cut off their black mana, they can't dome me. I guess let's cut off the... And either way, they can eventually just find a land. You know, we're not anywhere close to dying. Let's cut off the tropical island. In the event that I find True Name Nemesis, I really want to put my opponent under, like, enough pressure to kill them. Tell you what we need. We need one more land. We need to draw Misdirection. And then... And why isn't our opponent ever adding mana to gain life? Like, that doesn't make any sense to me. I guess they have some other plan here. Search your library for a card, then shuffle your library and put that card on top of it. You lose 2 life. Great. Chalice on 1 would be good here. Opponent gets even lower on life. I want to be able to misdirect their Ancestral Recall. I want a 5th land, that Misdirection, and I want them to go for it. I want them to go for it. Okay, so now at this point, our lands are in danger to the strip mine. We have to... We need this True Name Nemesis, and we need it badly. That's not it. On top of that, we can't cast this thing at all. So the what they can do is they can strip mine each turn, while yeah, they can strip mine every single turn. I'll float a mana just in case. That means something. And then they keep playing the strip mine from their graveyard thanks to ramming up Excavator. Yeah, so they played their land for the turn.
I thought Vintage would just be about turning cards sideways.
That's standard.
None of this.
And I have 6 islands in my deck. Thanks to the construction of this deck. Black Lotus has been dumped. Now would be a good time for like Mox Sapphire. Well, I'll take that. Yeah, we're running out of lands.
Come on, the big vintage card.
What's the big vintage card?
Anything that's banned.
And we're out of reach of playing True Name Nemesis now, which is very unfortunate. Can this help me anyway? Maybe to prevent my opponent from playing their own Moxes? They might have sided out like a lot of their Moxes in response to like Null Rod. Well, I guess it's better to have this on the board than not have it at all. They're going to the dome now. Here comes Strip Mine. There goes my island. Goodbye, island. It's nice knowing you. No Ether Vial in this format either.
What? That's banned?
No, sorry. It's in the format, but it's like not part of the lists. Yeah, you have tons of land. Do I have tons of land? I do have tons of land. Yeah, you can have a Time Walk. Okay, so we're dead. We're dead. We can't cast anything for the rest of the game. Well, I mean, we can in theory. We're going to need the Mox Sapphire, and then we're going to need just top deck lands from there.
Ooh, this is annoying.
And now they're going to draw 3 cards. They have perfect information. They know that we have a Silvergill Adept in our hand. Yeah, it is annoying.
It's vintage, folks.
That's vintage, folks. We've got 5 cards in their hand.
I wonder if this guy was just banned.
Oh no! There's our treasure cruise. So we need to top deck a land, exile all the cards in our graveyard, and then maybe we can get something going. We need Mox Sapphire. Without Mox Sapphire... Oh, I can't even play Mox Sapphire! We got this Chalice on 0. Forget it. This is ridiculous. It doesn't even matter. What do I have to do then? I've got to... I don't know how we win this game. I think we're locked out. I think we're locked out. Because that strip mine will always come back. There's nothing I can do about this. I didn't bring Tormod's Crypt back in my deck. Oh, there's Jace the Mind Sculptor. That's bad news. Look at the top. What is this? Is this like a new deck in Vintage? Because I have no idea what I'm looking at right now.
That's like an oxymoron. New and vintage.
Well, here's all the cards I needed a long time ago. Let's not forget, I mulliganed down to 5 when I had no power, or I drew power when it was useless. Could use that Black Lotus on like turn 1.
Maybe you'll time scum him.
No. Jace the Mind Sculptor can win the game before I do that. That for sure will happen. Nothing. I'm gonna have so much trouble trying to figure out what the hell did I just lost to. Is it fish? No, this is not fish. I'm just gonna call this Leovold. Deathrite Shaman will kill me before anything else happens.
Like the 1800s, there was a college student in America named Leopold, and he thought he could commit the perfect murder by never getting caught, but he was caught. It was like one of the most prolific murder mysteries of like the 1800s.
Our opponent Fate sealed us. They left the card on top, so we're screwed. Oh, we're done for. Snapcaster made Time Walk. That's sick. That is a sick interaction.
You know what would balance out Time Walk? If
What?
it took time off your clock to use it. You get your extra turn, but it eats like 3 minutes off your clock.
Sounds like a Hearthstone thing that they would do, but you like can't do that on paper. Sure, have an extra turn, lose 3 minutes. Flash it back, lose another 3 minutes. I like it. Sounds fair. Oh, now the Ramen app is going to come into the red zone. Well, in that case, we're going to double block and hope that was a horrible mistake. When I know it wasn't. They have to have removal in their hand at this point. Or they just have another Ramen app and they don't care anymore. Or they just think, well, I'm going to win this game anyway. But no, they've got the Abrupt Decay. Or something else. Costs 3 mana, 2 black, 1 colorless. Some vintage dependent card. Oh.
Hello,
Well then. I'm going to counter it. Because I can. Doesn't matter. Both creatures are going to get eaten anyway. Countered. Take that. Can I get my damn land? I just want 1. After you take your turn, of course. Well, Jace is going to ultimate next turn. It's 11, right? Oh, it's 12. Okay, sorry. There's one more turn for Jace to take up.
What's his ultimate?
Exile all cards in your library, and then my hand becomes my library.
Yikes.
Yeah, it's a little ridiculous.
And that stuff ain't banned.
Huh?
That stuff ain't banned. It just takes forever to get there.
Oh no, this is banned in
really?
Modern. Legal in Vintage and Legacy. Another damn Deathrite Shaman.
He's got 2 minutes.
Oh man. We did this before. I'm getting all the good cards too late. And we're dead. We're like super dead. Just gonna let our opponent win. Maybe they'll even have a flawless victory. They're gonna find a way to get rid of my Chalice of the Void. I have a sense that maybe they took out some of their Moxes because we're not seeing them. Or maybe they're stuck in their hand. Maybe he's got them. Maybe our opponent has them in their hand. and we lose. Oh well. It was our first match of Vintage. We have no idea what we're doing. The only game we won is when our opponent didn't do anything. In some sense, I didn't feel like I was doing anything in this game. But, yeah, that's Vintage for you. We got to see some super powerful stuff happen. Hopefully Merfolk is still relevant. Well, we're going to do it to them next time. So, yeah, that was our first round of Vintage in the Vintage Daily. I'd like to thank all our patrons supporting me on Patreon. I absolutely love all you guys out there. And we're going to thank our sponsor, themanabase.com. This has been Nikachu and his brother playing Merfolk in Vintage.